doesn't say it's a problem, it's not a problem. Okay, here we go. Yaw, thanks so very much for making some time. You were in a very interesting discussion this morning about innovation in Africa, and I was struck that you talked about Africa having a lot of young innovators who are very good at creating a startup, getting off the ground, but then there's this gap, and there's not the financing to take them beyond that. Could you maybe explain that problem a bit more?
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, Africa, let's start from, the changes in the African economies, in the last 10 to 20 years. If you take the last 10 years, Africa has been growing at a little over 5% GDP on the average.
Yeah.
Some of the countries are growing actually a lot faster, like Ghana, Nigeria, Gabon, Botswana, etc. So that is great. In the 80s and 90s, as many of you know, our economies were not doing so well, and access to capital for SMEs was almost insignificant.
Sure.
Right. And so there has been significant, change in that direction. But still, access to capital is still difficult, partly because institutionally, the institutions are not developed enough. So for instance, in the United States, pretty much everybody has a social security number.
Yeah.
So it's easy to track, for financiers to track where, people who owe them are.
Credit history.
Credit history, very good. Yeah. And that is not, we're not just now starting to develop, those, structures. And that would help improve. So for now, it is kind of risky to the banks from the perspective of the financial institution. It's a little bit risky to lend to small and medium enterprises, or for that matter, entrepreneurs who do not have a long, credit history. So that's part of the problem. Of course, the other part of the problem is also the pool of capital is just not enough, to go around, even though there's been significant improvement. But in any case, so the bottom line is it is improving. There's a lot more, capital to lend, but the institutions are not strong enough. And then one more thing, another factor is that a lot of people partly it's also lack of information, in the sense that many young entrepreneurs and SMEs just do not know where to look for capital. So that is also an issue that needs to be addressed.
So even in very developed economies, sort of access to capital for truly new ventures and sort of risky ventures is always difficult.
Yeah.
Banks will lend if you're going to set up a store or something like that where there's some predictable experience. Oh, we've seen 3 other grocery stores that do this, and so obviously you might be comparable to that. If you're doing something really new, it isn't traditionally bank lending that provides the finance. It's friends and family, it's angel networks, it's venture capitalists. I know you talked about the need for venture capital networks in Africa. I suspect that's still a dream. Are there sort of nascent angel networks perhaps that innovators can look to?
Yes, actually, yeah. There's also, there's the Venture Capital Association in Africa, and then there's a new, organization called Angel Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, they recently met in Lagos, and they've also met in South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa. Yeah, so there's a new, groups of people that are promoting awareness and also facilitating accessing capital by SMEs and young individual entrepreneurs.
Okay, now you're very involved in the Cyber City and Accra. Ghana, it seems to me, has become a real center for IT innovation in particular. What are some of the other places people should look, sort of the hotspots for innovation in Africa?
Oh, okay, yeah. Nigeria, definitely. Nigeria is a big market with a population of about 165 million. Yeah, so in Lagos, there's a group, in Abuja, there's a group that is seeking to build Abuja Technology Village.
Okay.
And then in Lagos, there are quite a number of innovation hubs springing up. But, they're still relatively on a small scale. And so, I think in Nigeria, there needs to be a bigger scale, technology park, which is yet to be, we're yet to see that. Kenya seems to be taking the lead in that with this very ambitious, I think I think the budget is about $10 billion to develop what they call Konza City. That one is was initiated by the government of Kenya, and they're seeking to bring in private developers, basically, to partner.
And do they have good ties with the universities? Have they kind of worked that out?
Oh, okay. In the Kenyan experience, yes, they are seeking to link, even though physically the Konza City is actually outside the city of Nairobi. So in terms of physical proximity, it's not very close to any particular university, but they seek to link the project or the venture with the universities in terms of things like companies recruiting from the universities, as well as knowledge transfer from big firms to the university, and then of course the university is profiting from having access to things like internship and things like that.
And
yeah,
what
but
about
in Ghana though?
Yeah,
in
I was
Ghana
gonna
the
ask.
difference is you go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
Okay.
tell me about your own
Yeah,
project.
the difference. What is unique about the Ghana case is that the Ghana Cyber City is going to be developed right next to the University of Ghana. Indeed, the land was originally owned by the university.
Which is the same way, Stanford Science Park, which is
good.
the origins of Silicon Valley, was
Yes.
Stanford land, and I suspect in the origins thought this is a commercial transaction, we're using property, but of course it proved that relationship between the university and the companies that form have much greater value than the land could have ever produced.
Absolutely, yeah. I know. Stanford University has thousands and thousands of acres of land, one of the biggest, in the world. Yes, and that is the origin of Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And I think it's a perfect case study, because the university, there are quite a number of big companies were started by graduate students from Stanford University, and vice versa. Now high-profile Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, millionaires and billionaires, spend a little bit of time teaching at the university.
Yes.
So the relationship has been phenomenal. That's exactly what we seek to accomplish in Ghana, at the Ghana Cyber City. So we seek to create a platform for incubation to basically identify talent from the University of Ghana, and basically provide incubation services to facilitate the growth of those ventures from the conception stage to a commercially viable, profitable stage.
And will you also be open to people who have good ideas who maybe don't have those university ties, or is it specifically a university-linked project?
Oh, okay. Actually, the link to the university is actually not official.
Okay.
Right. In other words, the university actually does not, have shares in the project in the Ghana Cyber City. So, but by virtue of the Cyber City,
You have the proximity, right?
Correct. So it's not official relationship per se. So in other words, other schools would also have, almost equal access to the technology park. For instance, the University of Science and Technology, which is in Kumasi, the second city in Ghana, it's actually the premier research institute in terms of tech. So we would have a relationship with that university as well, and others.
And when is this going to happen?
Oh, okay. So the official construction would begin, if all goes well, in December 2014.
Okay, so that's very soon.
Yeah, within 7 months from now.
Okay, well, good luck with that project, and
Yeah.
thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Good.